Imagine a fighter jet so fast, so sleek, and so daring that it once managed to shoot itself down. Yes, you heard that right. This is not a myth or a joke. This is the unbelievable true story of the Grumman F11F Tiger, the jet that defined innovation, broke the limits of speed, and left behind one of the most fascinating legacies in naval aviation history. Welcome to Wings of War, where the sky tells stories of glory, courage, and the incredible machines that ruled it. Buckle up, because today, we're taking flight with the legendary F11F Tiger, the real king of the sky. The Grumman F11F Tiger was born in the golden age of American aviation, the 1950s. This was the decade when the race for supersonic dominance was heating up. The U.S. Navy wanted a jet that could take off from carriers, slice through the sound barrier, and give American pilots the edge in an era when the Cold War's shadow loomed large. Grumman, already famous for its rugged Hellcats and Panthers, took on the challenge and created something extraordinary, an aircraft that looked like it came straight out of the future. The Tiger was the Navy's first carrier-based supersonic fighter. It was sleek, slender, and built for speed. Its pointed nose, swept wings, and streamlined fuselage made it look fast even when it was standing still. At the heart of this machine was the Wright J65 turbojet engine, capable of pushing the Tiger to speeds exceeding Mach 1.1. For a carrier jet in the 1950s, that was pure power. The F11F could climb to over 35,000 feet in minutes, roll like a dancer, and dive like lightning. But the story of the Tiger isn't just about performance, it's about personality. Pilots loved it. They called it the sports car of the sky. It was agile, responsive, and thrilling to fly. Every time a pilot strapped in, it wasn't just another mission, it was an adventure. The controls were so well balanced that you could feel every movement through the stick, every vibration through the seat. In an age when many fighters were still stiff and unpredictable, the Tiger was alive. However, one of the most famous, and bizarre, moments in aviation history came courtesy of this very jet. On September 21, 1956, a Navy pilot named Tom Attridge took off in an F11F Tiger for a test flight. He fired a short burst from the plane's 20mm cannons during a dive, then continued descending. But within seconds, the Tiger began taking hits. The windshield shattered, the engine flamed out, and the plane crashed. The investigation revealed something no one could believe: the Tiger had literally flown into its own bullets. Because of the jet's speed and the arc of the fired rounds, it had caught up with them just as they slowed and began falling. It was the first and only time in history a jet shot itself down. But one mistake didn't define the Tiger. In fact, it made it legendary. It proved how advanced, and how fast, this aircraft really was. The F11F wasn't just fast, it was ahead of its time. Grumman engineers designed the Tiger using some of the earliest forms of swept-wing aerodynamics optimized for supersonic flight. The thin wings, angled tail, and aerodynamic fuselage gave it a razor-sharp silhouette that made it one of the most beautiful aircraft ever built. In combat training, the Tiger was a formidable opponent. It was armed with four 20mm Colt Mk-12 cannons, capable of firing over 1,000 rounds per minute, and could carry bombs and rockets under its wings for ground attack missions. Though it never saw real combat, the F11F played a key role in developing naval fighter tactics that would later shape aircraft like the F-8 Crusader and F-14 Tomcat. Another fascinating fact about the Tiger is its connection to the Blue Angels, the U.S. Navy's elite flight demonstration squadron. From 1957 to 1969, the Blue Angels flew the F11F Tiger in hundreds of airshows across the world, wowing audiences with breathtaking maneuvers and tight formations that showcased the jet's incredible agility. The Tiger's sleek design and powerful performance made it perfect for precision aerobatics, and it became one of the most iconic aircraft ever flown by the Blue Angels. Spectators would watch in awe as six blue and gold F-11Fs streaked across the sky, their wings almost touching, leaving trails of smoke and thunder in their wake. It was more than just a show, it was a symbol of American airpower, grace, and engineering brilliance. Those airshows turned the Tiger into a legend not only for pilots but for millions of fans around the world. But every legend has its limits. As technology raced forward in the 1960s, new jets like the F-8 Crusader and the F-4 Phantom II began to outclass the Tiger. The F11F simply couldn't keep up with the demands of the jet age: faster speeds, longer ranges, and more powerful radar systems. The U.S. Navy retired the F-11F from frontline service in the early 1960s, but its influence didn't end there. Many of its design features, from its aerodynamic lines to its control systems, paved the way for future generations of carrier fighters. Even today, when you look at modern jets, you can still trace design DNA that began with the Tiger. It taught engineers how to balance speed, stability, and carrier compatibility, something that remains one of aviation's toughest challenges. And though the F-11F's time in the spotlight was short, its impact was long-lasting. For the pilots who flew it, the Tiger was unforgettable. They describe it as an aircraft that danced with them, smooth, precise, and thrilling. It was a jet that made you feel like you were part of it, not just controlling it. And for aviation fans, it remains one of the most photogenic and graceful jets ever built. Whether sitting on the tarmac with its nose pointed skyward or slicing through clouds at full afterburner, the Tiger always looked like it belonged in motion. There's something poetic about the F-11F Tiger. It came during a time when aviation was still raw, when flight was more art than algorithm. It didn't rely on computers or advanced fly-by-wire systems, it relied on the skill of the pilot and the strength of its design. Every flight in the Tiger was a test of nerve, precision, and trust. And that's what makes it special. It wasn't just a machine, it was a partner in the sky. So, when we talk about the real kings of the sky, the F-11F Tiger earns its place not because it fought wars or broke records, but because it represented a moment in history, a moment when innovation met courage, when engineering met art, and when a jet proved that even the impossible could happen. The F-11F might have been overshadowed by newer, faster aircraft, but it will always be remembered as one of the purest expressions of speed and beauty ever to take flight. It's the kind of jet that reminds us why humanity looks up at the sky, not just to conquer it, but to dream within it. And that, my friends, is the legacy of the Grumman F11F Tiger, a fighter that roared with grace, taught the world a lesson in physics, and became an immortal symbol of aviation brilliance. This is Wings of War, the home of the legends that once ruled the heavens. Subscribe now and stay tuned, because our next flight might just take you beyond the limits of the sky.